People, I know. I totally forgot to do the conversation on rental prices increasing, and one of my subscribers, Ben, called me out on it, and I was like, "Hey, I'm just gonna do it sometime this weekend," and there we go. So I just remembered it. I did just go live, but hey, hopefully people catch the replay. But I do want to call this out. I had seen this story a few weeks ago. It actually came out August 11th by CNBC, and they were talking about these bidding wars coming out for renters. And normally, bidding wars are something that you will see from, you know, with housing, with the housing market. We saw bidding wars happening. More and more people wanted to buy houses. And so we saw, you know, and we still kind of see a little bit, but the housing market is shifting a bit. Now we see prices slowly coming down, but there were bidding wars. You don't typically see bidding wars for apartments, but I'm going to dig into some of what I saw happening, and then a couple of articles, and then also some insight into just what I've been talking about a lot is that wages have not increased for families, yet the cost of things are steadily increasing. And when do we get up to a point where either the bubble pops or something has to shift and we need to use a new system? Like something has to happen. So let me share an article by CNN. They're saying that um, in July, rents nationally rose 7% year over year for a one bedroom apartment. So sounds like a basic one bedroom apartment, and then 8.7% rise for two bedroom apartments. Single family rentals are also experiencing a surge in demand, which makes sense. You had a lot of people selling their homes, and some of them didn't even have like places to go. They just planned on renting for a while and taking advantage of this scenario or finding another home. And then we've seen how that has worked out. So it's been interesting. So let me see here. I'm going to share this article. Okay. Or not. Hold on one second. Okay. So okay, so these are the main points that they had. They were saying that, bidding wars is not normal for rental spaces. It's not the norm, which I had never heard of it. I really hadn't even heard of bidding wars to the extent of what happened this year before this year. So they said, again, in July, rents nationally rose 7% year over year for one bedroom, and then 8.7% for a two bedroom apartment. And they're not even saying these are luxury apartments or anything. So I'm imagining just your basic apartment. So to offset losses from the cough eviction moratorium, some landlords are raising rents on the properties they can, knowing that demand in the market will support the increases. Yeah, I've even heard people, some of these landlords, which there's not really a side bad or good here, because landlords have been in a tough situation, as well as those renting from those landlords have been in a tough situation generally. However, they're trying to get some of their cost, or some might be just taking advantage of the situation, which I can't really be completely mad at, because we're a capitalist society. So of course that's going to happen. So you're in this situation where the supply is lower than the demand. So of course the prices are going to increase. So I do want to just move over to another article, because I want to just call out that this hasn't just been happening as of 2021. This has been an issue for quite a while. So it's just not, it shouldn't be a surprise, especially when we see the printing of money. So printing of money, lower supply, more demand. We've kind of seen what has happened with the housing market. Houses are too expensive. So what are more people going to do? And then we have this period of, okay, hey, Everett, Hey, Ben. Yes, ask and you shall receive. Just not on a Thursday, it's a Sunday, but that's okay. So, look, we had this scenario where people went home. Like a lot of millennials, like me, I didn't actually do this, but millennials went home and said, you know what, we got to do the shutdowns. I'm just going to go home. I'm not going to live in New York where I'm paying to be in a box, really smaller box. I might as well just go home and stay with my family for a while. Or you had people who were in situations where they lost their jobs and they said, okay, well, I got to move back home with family, or we got to huddle up, or I got to get a roommate, or I got to move in with my cousin, whatever. So you had these shared living scenarios. And now we're getting to the point, 2021, people are like, okay, well, it's been cool. I've been around you, love my family, love my friends, love this living situation. It's been cool, but I need my space now. So they need their space. So they're moving away from that. I've actually seen a lot of people just saying sporadically on social media, okay, I'm looking for a new place now. I've been at home looking for a new place. Even in my work environment, I've seen some people move and look for apartments, or they were with their parents and now they're looking for either a house or an apartment. And what we're realizing is that the home prices, of course, are still higher, even though we're seeing some trickle down, but they were just so inflated in the first place, right? So we've got these different dynamics happening. So of course, we're going to see some higher rents because of the demand. Now, I want to share this. Let me get away from that. And I did ask a question in the poll. Are you seeing higher rents where you're at? Are you a lucky one that hasn't seen any increase in rent? I will say I renewed my rent and I actually negotiated, and I was like, oh, I can't do that much. I didn't get that big of a decrease, but I did get a slight decrease in the increase that they were trying to push, which is ridiculous, but the increases happen. We know what apartment, unless you're maybe in New York, you know, they have a lot of protections for the tenants. So hello, act now or never. First time seeing you here. You said what up though? Hey. Okay, so let me pull up this one and then I'm gonna look at the comments. Average price for a condo here in Hawaii is about 400,000 or 500,000. For a condo? Like what type of condo? A luxury condo? That's wild. 4 or 5,000. I know Hawaii is a pricier market though, but that's wild. Ben is saying, I live in an upscale town, but luckily my entire town is rent controlled. Okay, well, because you're in New Jersey, New York, of course. For all properties within 3 units or more, the rent can be raised more than 3% from lease to lease. My place is under market. Oh, well, you're a lucky one. Okay. But yeah, there's a lot of rent control in New York, so which they needed, because otherwise, New Yorkers, those landlords would, who knows? I don't even want to imagine what kind of rent prices they would push, whether people were there and demand was high or not, like New Yorkers or something else. Alrighty, let me pull up this other article, because my issue is that this didn't just sporadically happen in 2021. This has been an issue for a while, but like I said at the beginning, there's going to be a point where either the system needs to change or the bubble's going to pop. Like these small things that have been happening over the course of time within this country and, in other markets as well globally, the value of our dollars have gone down and the output has not increased by that much, and wages have not increased by much. So let me share this one with you guys, because it's really annoying. This is why I tell people that you always have to be negotiating and increasing your income. And I go back to the video I did with Michael Saylor, where he's talking about the inflation and how the power of your wages has just gone down. You don't have anything. Like, you're literally losing money. Even when you get like small increases, you feel like you're not getting an increase at all in pay. And the reason why is because the value of the dollar in every market, most markets, I would say, have gone down. Now the US dollar is stronger than, you know, certain countries, their dollars, but even here. Okay, I think this is the one. So this article is basically saying, hey, rents have increased more than incomes. So let me readjust here. Oh no, I don't like that. I don't like that view. Let me look at some other comments before I get into this one. Yeah, Edward, that is really nice. Ben, you're a lucky one. Totally lucky. I'll never try to rent in a town without rent control, but I agree the bubble will pop. Landlords aren't going to try to stall prices out of fear of a bubble. Right. Oh no, they're going to take advantage while they can. Like, I mean, again, what country do we live in here? Of course they're going to. Most landlords. Now there are some landlords that might be a little more fair and caring and, you know, try to, but no, most landlords, and I guess I can't blame them too much, will take advantage. So I want to show this chart because they're basically making this point that, and this is Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, just so you know the source there, and this is 2019, right before the panorama happened. So growth in median rents have outpaced growth in median renter income since 2001 in nearly every state, as we explained in our update, and they're referencing some fact sheets there. About 23 million low-income renters pay more than half of their income for housing, partly due to this gap between rental costs and income. So that's kind of setting the stage. They paint this story, and then I want to show you a chart. Renters' incomes generally are recovering from the 2001 and 2007, 2009 recessions, but in nearly half the states, the median renter household still earned less in 2018 than in 2001. So I'm going to say that again. Nearly half of states, the median renter household still earned less in 2018 than in 2001 in inflation adjusted terms. That's wild. Rental costs rose 30% in California, 40% in Hawaii, where Everett is. So Everett, 40% rise in costs for rental income. So I would question, Everett, did you see the increase like in 2001? Did things increase even more in 2018? Like this, it's really interesting here. So 59% in the District of Columbia. Yes, I visited DC multiple times, and I know some people in DC, and they would talk about like they're never going to buy a house. Never going to buy a house in DC. It's just there's just no way, and how their rents were increasing for the basic of the basic places. So no washer and dryer in unit, no nice things. Like it's very basic, as basic as you can get. And these are folks making about 80 to 90,000 a year. Of course, in DC, that's not a lot of money. This is why I say like under 100,000, even 100,000, like just thinking about our money and the value of it and how much we can buy, our purchasing power, it's not a lot of money. Okay, let me move down to this chart. So this is a change in median rents and incomes since 2001. So you can see in the gold, that goldish color at the top, that is the median rent, and this does include utilities. So we look at 2001. So we're starting right in the same place, right? So we're balanced. This is adjusted for inflation. We see a 13% increase in median rents, right? But then look in the blue. Look at that blue space, and hopefully you can see. Let me just check. Hopefully you can see here. I'm gonna bring myself up too so I can look at it. No, I mean, it's just, guys, so in the blue, you see the median renter household income. Where are we at? So let's look at, 2001, where are we at? 2017 is where they stopped at. Or wait, I think it's 2018 is where they stopped at, which is what they were referring to earlier. So 2018, which is the very tail end, we see in the blue, there's no increase from 2001 to 2018. And then we look in gold, the median rent, including utilities, 13% increase. Again, this is why I go back to that Michael Saylor video. The inflation has been insane. Our purchasing power is going down, and our wages are not increasing. So people are getting upset. These, big shots in politics and everything, they're getting upset saying, oh, people want to increase their wages. People don't want to work these menial jobs for $12 an hour, $10 an hour, $8 an hour. And let's talk about the restaurant industry. You're working for tips. They don't want to work these jobs. No, they don't want to work the jobs. They can barely pay their rent off of that. No, and it also refers back to my whole conversation about the baby boomers, because who's on television talking and spewing this nonsense half the time? Our baby boomer generation, who lived to see a very booming baby boomer, reference the name, booming economy. And now you're upset that the next generation wants a piece of the pie. They want to work for real income. They want to be able to pay their rent with not half of their total income. Just saying, it's interesting. Just a little rant there. So let me check out the chat, and then I'm going to get off of here, because I just wanted to highlight this. This is a real issue, but it hasn't. Yes, it's ballooned like everything else has ballooned in 2021. However, this has been an ongoing issue. This didn't just happen. Wages have not increased. Okay, let me go to the chat. Hey, King of Kill. Welcome. Nice to see you again. I know this is my second one. I don't normally do this, but this is the only way I was going to have this video, because my week will be crazy. I have not experienced a rent increase in about 2 years. Oh, you're lucky too, Edward. That's amazing. Now, I do want to ask you, Edward, you may have already responded, but the 40% increase from 2001, and I know that's a long time, but it is a long time. So it's a long time for there have not to have been a lot of wage increases compared to your rental expenses. I don't understand it. It's wild. Please hit the like button if you're in the chat. Please do. Ben says, only rent hack I can think of is rent a place for under market value in a rent controlled town. That way, if landlord wants more money, he's got to pay you to leave, because they have to offer you a re-up legal. So yes, in the New York area, New York, New Jersey area, it's different in places like Texas. Texas is a state, Missouri is a state that is more landlord friendly, as opposed to states like New York that's tenant friendly, which I think they need to be, because they would see a lot more. They would see a lot of California happening, a lot more of what's happening in San Francisco and New York if they didn't have rent control. And I want to say California is a tenant friendly state as well. Let me know if you live in California or know more about that. But my understanding is they're a tenant friendly state, but they're even having issues with keeping people in homes. But yes, in New York, it's advantageous for sure. King of Kill is saying also the cost of living for boomers was way lower. Thank you, King of Kill. Thank you so much. So their income was adequate. Exactly. And they're the main ones. Here's my thing. They're the main ones going on media saying why people should be basically groveling and very thankful to have these jobs. Now, yes, I think you should be thankful to be able to get a job, but that doesn't mean you just work any job, right? It's very demeaning to just say, oh, these people need to just work this job that doesn't even pay them a value. I think that's ridiculous, because they're getting paid a premium to sit on television and talk down to people. Well, what if nobody wants to watch you anymore? Are you going to get your high salary? No. What if we just say all of the people that you're talking down to? What if we just say, oh, we don't want to listen to you anymore? Nope. We're done. Then what? Those are some things that annoy me, because these are people that don't even really know what's going on with the real person in the world, the everyday person that is working hard for their family to earn an income. it's a lot. It's anyway. This is why I don't really watch the news a lot, because I just get annoyed. It's like I just get annoyed. I just like, oh, I can't anymore. I'm done. Ben is saying, so right about boomers. My friend's mom raised 5 kids by herself in New Jersey as a seamstress and managed to buy a home. Not possible today. That woman will be on welfare today. Exactly. Yes. And this is not taking anything away from baby boomers. Yes. I think the generation worked, but they were in a thriving economy and they made a lot of decisions that affect us today in a negative, right? So, and they're still taking advantage of the situation, not wanting to pay taxes and such, not wanting to pay their fair share of everything that they have benefited from. And yet looking down on the millennials and other generations for like Gen Z, Gen X, I'm talking about Gen X, looking down on other generations for wanting the same opportunities for our hard work. I don't know. It's just a lot. Edward says, what are your thoughts on landlords who have not been paid rent because of the situation? I don't think anyone's like a good or bad person in these situations. I think both are in a tough scenario, right? Because landlords, they have to pay their mortgages. Of course, they don't have their property paid off, which I imagine most don't. But yeah, they have to pay taxes. They have to pay if you're renting out a condo, you have to pay your HOA fees. You have to pay. So when the renter doesn't pay, how does the landlord get by? So I do think it's really hitting on especially your everyday landlord, your retired person or your retired couple that's a landlord and that's their income now. Yes, it's a tough scenario for everybody. But here's my thing. If these companies can get bailed out, why can't the people that are actually paying taxes and actually making sure that this country is still operating, right? That's what I don't get. And I'm kind of in the middle on a lot of these issues. Like, I'm more of a moderate, I suppose. But in this type of scenario where we're pushing money, for example, the government's pushing money into the stock markets. Okay, well, what do we do about the people that can't pay their rents? What do we do about the landlords that's not getting rental income? So yeah, I think all the way around, it's just a mess. It's a full mess. Anyway, that's all I wanted to bring to you. I said I would have the conversation. I've been trying to do this on a Thursday and have it as Thursday Thoughts, but things happen. So instead of Thursday Thoughts, we're going to get Sunday Thoughts. And maybe at some point I'll get to the point where I can have Thursday Thought conversations. But this chart, I think, just speaks volumes. And we've been talking about it for a while on just how, at the end of the day, wages have not increased. Our output hasn't really increased. So, but yet we have high inflation because we're still just printing money. That's what's getting us by. Now, I will say the dollar is stronger than, I want to say the Canadian dollar, a little stronger, than certain currencies. But this is where we're at. Let me see. This combo reminds me of the lying flat movement in China, millennial opting out of consumerism and capitalism in protest of being treated like cogs in a machine. Well, we do have the FIRE movement here in the US, though. We do have, millennials saying, hey, I'm going to be a minimalist. I'm not buying all this junk. I'm in between. I am, as being in Texas, I don't think I can be as big of a minimalist, but I am pretty minimalist. I don't just go shopping just because I have it. I don't overbuy. I don't overspend because I think about money a little differently. And so when I look at the dollars that I'm using, I try to focus it on assets, buying assets versus me spending on something that I don't care about. This is why, and I see some lovely people selling jewelry and things like that. What's one of them? Paparazzi, I think, is one. And I've had like when I would go to church in the past, like I've had the ladies there where they're selling this, whatever jewelry. And I never really got into it because I'm like, well, why am I going to buy that if it's not even a real thing? It's like plastic. It looks pretty, but what am I going to do with that? And in my like early 20s, like I would buy like jewelry just here and there. That jewelry is gone. Like I don't even have it anymore. And it was like it was just plastic. Like I would just buy, fashion jewelry, just like, oh, this is cute, whatever. I'm gonna put this on, whatever, and it's gone. So I think about that stuff now, and I'm like, okay, if I'm going to purchase something, what is this doing for me? Is it actually going to last? So with things like jewelry, is it going to last? Is it of value? Even with clothing, I don't follow trends. I am like, okay, am I going to wear this for a while? Does it look good on me? Does it fit me? Whatever. And so I will buy higher quality, but I will buy less, right? And then with, I don't know, just food and eating out and stuff. I do. I like to enjoy life, but at the same time, I don't overdo it. So I'm still, pretty minimalist in that way too. Anyway, you're welcome, Ben. And yes, ask and you shall receive. So we've had the conversation on the bidding wars. And yes, bidding wars are happening. People are in a place where there's just not enough rentals to go around. I do wonder what will happen as housing prices go down, like towards the end of the year, next year. I do wonder if that will help us because more people may want to move into the home market, and then we'll see some of that demand go down. Just like we're seeing with the cars, with the old used cars, we'll see a period of, higher inflation in these, I guess, in these markets. However, it can't last forever. It's only going to last as long as people are willing to pay. So we could also see this happen. So the folks that are in shared living environments, or they were saying they're going to leave, they may just stay longer with their parents or in, co-living spaces. That may also happen. Again, like if you lower that demand, then the prices have to come down because people at the end of the day, they're going to want to rent a space. It's better to have someone in a space versus no one in a space because then you're not getting that rental income, right? So anyway, this is a combo on the rental bidding wars. It's a little crazy. I did want to show one last thing that I forgot about. Let me just pull this up quickly. Because it was like someone had tweeted something and I wanted to pull it up. I have so many tabs open. Let me see if I can find it. This guy, he's saying he used Street Easy to find a place in New York City. He toured about 15 apartments in 2 days, searching on these different apps. I know Street Easy well from when I was in New York. He saw prices of the units he was looking at go up 300 to 400 just over the last 2 or 3 months. That's wild. The one I really wanted to apply to, I was looking at with 3 or 4 people in the tour. Before I got home, I immediately got my information together, applied, and had already had applicants put in. He didn't get it. Wow. Okay. Other thing I want to point out, the rental applications that we're getting right now, you're seeing higher credit scores. You're seeing applicants willing to put down more in terms of security deposit. You're seeing strong rental history as well. And that wasn't necessarily the case before the panorama. That's interesting too. But that's a norm. In New York, you have to pay like first month, last month, and a deposit, and sometimes a fee for the what are they called? A finder's fee or something like that. I'm not finding this tweet though. I'm finding everything but the tweet that I wanted to highlight. I'm not finding it. Let's see. Oh well. Oh wait, is this it? Yes. Okay, I'm gonna share this one to close things out. Oh wait. Oh, and then quickly, I do want to talk about the U.S. buying up farmland. I don't know if this is it. That's not it. Oh, also, I do want to call it this. There's so much I want to like talk about. So I just had a discussion about REITs last week on Money Talk Mondays. So something else that CNBC called out, and I've seen it in my portfolio as well, is that apartment REIT stocks are also seeing big gains. Names like Avalon Bay, UDR, and Essex Property Trust are up over 30% year to date. So isn't that interesting? And I just talked about REITs. So if you want to get into real estate, but you don't have as much money, you can get into real estate investment trust stocks and you can get gains that way and be in the market. So when prices are inflated, you can actually get some returns back. And they do have to provide 90% of profits back to the investors. So investors by way of dividends. Well, I guess I'm not gonna wait. What's this one? Oh, it is this guy. Okay, let me share this. So this person had tweeted, "Is this normal? I just got notified that my rent is going up $406 a month if I want to renew for 12 months. So, do we have a booming economy or an economy that's just acting like it?" And no, we don't have a booming economy. We're just printing money. We haven't increased our output, haven't increased our GDP. We're just printing more money. That's what's happening. No, we don't have a necessarily booming economy. We're just trying to get back to where we were before the panorama. So, the other thing in here, people signing new leases here this year reported earn 6% more on average. In July, new renters paid a record of 17.2% more than a previous renter did for the same unit. It's wild. And then the last piece on farmland, yes, people are buying farmland. We know that billionaires like Bill Gates are buying up more and more farmland. I'm really curious about that because I'm wondering what is going to happen with the food supply and just the supply chain in general, because we've seen with the cars, the whole microchip shortage where we have, big automakers where they can't sell cars because they don't have the chips that actually run all the technology in those cars. So they can't operate without those chips. So we're in a place where we've seen a lot of inflation happen there. Now, I do wonder with the supply chain, because we don't just get all of our food within our own states, within our own country even. So I do wonder what's going to happen. And then we do have the other thing that I talked about, which I talked about in the whole Second Earth video, the rising temperatures, the sea levels rising, a lot that might imply that it's going to be harder to farm food for everyone. So just a thought. We'll have to talk about it in another conversation, but there's been an increase in buying farmland. I want to understand why. We also have companies like John Deere where they're having automated tractors that can automatically designate fertilizer, and also what is it called? The chemicals that actually protect the crops from getting, eaten by bugs and everything else. So we have a place where that is also happening. So John Deere is going to have these auto tractors. So maybe that's going to be another form of income for these billionaires to get into the food market. They're buying up the farmland because they're going to have the automated John Deere tractors, and they automatically are going to be saving on what's needed to keep those crops because they have the engineering behind it where they can automatically designate these chemicals to the plants that actually need it versus just all over the crops. So it will save them money too. So that's just some thinking that I've had recently about, okay, why is everyone buying all this farmland and people are also buying water? It's getting weird. It's getting a little strange. But again, we have to look at the economy, and we also have to look at the just natural occurrences that are happening too. So rental prices are rising. Houses prices might be coming down, so that may help. But it's just a mess. And then we have billionaires buying farmland. Godson, hello. I guess I'm lucky. My NYC rent is going up $20 next year. Oh, you are lucky. Yeah, that's so like each month you'll pay $20 more. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. But you're in New York. New York has a lot of protections for the tenants. But I'm so happy to hear that. Hello, KB. Welcome, my member. Shout out to you. Hello. And I'm going to be closing things out. Feel free to catch the replay if you're interested in this topic. But I wanted to talk about it. One of the subscribers, Ben, called me out and was like, hey, when are we going to have this conversation? And so I was like, sometime this weekend I'll do it. And so here we are. It's not a Thursday conversation, but the original thought happened on Thursday. Just put that out there. Okay. I'm getting off of here because now I'm rambling. But I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I hope it was thought-provoking. At the end of the day, I just want us all to be focused on the wages increasing. That's really what everyone needs to be focused on right now because they haven't for years. We haven't seen it. So if we can't generally just get everyone's wages increased, then you need to be proactive about doing it for yourself, finding ways to increase your own income. So with that, I'm going to let you all go. Hope you all have a great Sunday. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed the content. And I will see you tomorrow for Money Talk Monday. We're going to have a really cool discussion. We're going to talk about high value stocks, not men. All righty. I will see you all later. Bye, lovely people.